here on my little holder. Good morning. Come on in here. Come on in, because we're going to talk about it. And yesterday, if anybody caught that live, I wiped it out. I just wasn't too happy with that one and the energy that it put me into. So I got rid of it. Damn this. Sorry, y'all. Give me a second to get up. I'll get it in a minute, I promise. Let's see how that does for a minute. One day I'm going to have great backgrounds and a great place to do this, and it's going to be wonderful. But right now, I just don't have that. What's up, you guys? Come on in. So yeah, yesterday I had a live stream all planned out, and the energy that I really wanted to convey, stuff I really wanted to talk about, and I hate this lighting. I hate everything about this. I really do, but it's the best I can do for right now. So I had a live stream all planned out for yesterday, and I've been talking about how here on my channel I want to go more towards spiritual concepts and spiritual talks, and there's something that's always holding me back from that. And before I could get on with the live stream I wanted to do yesterday, as usual, something negative crossed my path, and something I just couldn't resist responding to. Hey, little birdies. But that's it, guys. That's just the spirit of negativity. That is the spirit of negativity, that every time you want to do something that you have faith in, that you believe in, that you're passionate about, that you enjoy doing, it's always going to find a way to make you feel disturbed, awkward, upset, distracted, and is going to take you to some whole other path. And I've been fighting that a lot lately. A lot. I'm still trying to find a good place for the phone. I promised you guys I'd be wearing a different top. I thought it was going to be cooler outside, but it is freaking sweltering out here. The sun's not even out. I live deep in the south, and it's hot, even in the morning times. I'm pissed not being able to find the right spot for this phone. There's good lighting in the backyard, but every time I go back there and sit under the little tree, people give me shit about it. Oh, I know what it is. I know exactly what it is. I forgot to bring my little prop, the thing to put the phone up on, so you guys just bear with me. I am dreadfully sorry. We're going to get into the topic, though. Oh, hi, buddy. Hi. You want to say hi to YouTubes? You want to say hi to YouTubes? You want to say hi to YouTubes? Hi. It's Hector, you guys. That's my Chihuahua. Some of you know him. Okay. Now I know what I forgot. Forgot the thing to prop my phone up on so that y'all can see me better. That's what was making it so damn uncomfortable. Okay, so I figured I'd do this live stream and then I'm going to work on some more video content today. It's just experimental, guys. I've been experimenting the last few mornings, just getting a feel for live streaming. No big deal, just checking it out, seeing how it goes, seeing if I like it or not. I'd like it a lot better if I had a more comfortable place to do it. But as it stands, hell yeah, I'd like it a lot better if I could just relax in my own bedroom and kick back, and if I could just put the stream on and walk around the house and, feel free to do that and just talk as I want to, but I don't have that luxury right this minute. All right, so the topic is afterlife and connecting with loved ones who have passed on. If you caught one of my streams earlier this week, I got started talking about that and all the ways in which we can connect to our people after they passed over. Now, everybody's going to be on a different level with that. Some people report, very strong energetic connections and things happening, and other people report, smaller things, but I pay attention to every one of them, okay? Anytime somebody has lost somebody, and they report to me, oh, I had a dream, or oh, I felt this particular thing the other day, or oh, this or that. I've studied for a long number of years as well to know what to look for, to know how to be open to that. I don't disregard anything. I don't scoff at it. I don't laugh it off. So I'm genuinely one of those people in this world. If you are a spiritual person, if you do feel like, you're highly intuitive or you're picking up on highly intuitive things, different types of energies or from spirit, I'm definitely one of those people that's going to listen to you. I'm definitely one of those people that's going to be curious to hear more, that's not going to laugh you off, that's not going to scoff at it, that's not going to try to get you to reason it away, that's not going to call you crazy, okay? And the cool thing about me, though, we got to have people like that in this world, because some of the spiritual people and spiritual people in spiritual communities, oftentimes they are so kind and so gentle, and they feel like in order to be spiritual that you have to go way over to some extreme that nobody can live up to, because we're human. We live here in third dimensional reality, and it's a bitch. We have ego. We're always gonna have ego. And in order to survive this reality here, no, people sometimes misinterpret, and they think that in order to be spiritual and continue growing in your spiritual life, that you have to be some perfect human being, that you're not going to have attitude, that you're not going to have days where you're pissed off, you're not going to be fierce and stand up for yourself if you have to. That's wrong. That's wrong. And so a lot of times in those communities, they often don't stick up for themselves. They often do tolerate a lot of scoffing, a lot of getting bashed. A lot of people are skeptical, and that's fine. Nobody has to believe in what I believe in. Nobody has to feel what I feel. They don't have to accept it. But one thing they're not going to do, and one thing I don't tolerate, is they're not going to mistreat me because of it. And they're not going to disregard or stomp on my intelligence because of it. Okay? So you have to have people in this world who don't mind being fierce, who don't feel self-conscious about it, who can walk that balance between deeply loving, gentle, spiritual human being who continues to go through their own process of deeply desiring to be a better human and continue the process of self-actualization, but at the same time realizing that they are in a human body, and if they have to, they forgive themselves for being human, right? Right. They don't walk around in a little ball of shame all day. Oh, so self conscious. I can't say this and I can't say that. The thing about being on a spiritual path is, though, yes, you are going to change. You're not going to want to be as much of an asshole. Right. That is the thing about it. If you are on a highly spiritual path, if you are going through a process of self actualization or a spiritual ascension process, you are going to change. And you're going to notice it big time. You're going to feel like, damn, it'll be shocking because you won't even feel triggered, or the same shit that used to bother you that you might have wanted to react to or get upset about, or you will notice that as time goes on, that doesn't bother you. It doesn't, you learn to control your energy. You learn to protect it. You learn that you are on a much higher course of focus, and it's amazing. So yeah, you are going to be a less reactive human. It's going to make you kinder, more gentle, more open, more compassionate, more empathic, all of those kinds of things, more loving to yourself, therefore more loving to others. That's going to happen. That's the truth. But a lot of these folks take it too far. They they are under the misconception that they have to be that 24 hours a day. Honey, nobody's that 24 hours a day. We're never going to be able to be completely on that high of a frequency until we pass over. You know what I'm saying? So I don't get tripped up. To me, being a spiritual being is a student. Now, let's put it into that perspective, okay? It's not necessarily being the most gentle, the most compassionate, the most kind. It means you're absolutely trying to touch base with those types of characteristics within yourself and not be cruel to others and not carry around a bitter, shitty attitude, and just getting a whole control over all of your own emotions as your fucking responsibility. But at the same time, to me, being on a spiritual path, being a spiritual human being, when I hear that, when I think of that, a highly spiritual being, first thing I think of is student, instantly, student, just student, just student. It doesn't come to mind that it means extremely kind. It doesn't come to mind that it means, oh my God, they're perfect. It doesn't come to mind that they are floating around on clouds and they never make mistakes. Like, no. So calm it on down. Everybody that's on a spiritual path, we can all relax. It's cool. I get tired of people judging it and, all that kind of crap. No, the first thing I think of is, well, hi, beautiful birdie. Is student. We're students here. And what do students do? What do students in school do? They make mistakes. Part of being a student is fucking up. That's right. Part of being a student is learning. When we start in school as young kids, we don't know that shit. And when we start learning those new concepts, we don't exactly know what to do with them. We're going to put them over here and use it over there in the wrong sentence and fuck it up over here and get a bad grade over there. And exactly. Students fail. Students make mistakes when they are first learning new concepts. Same thing with spiritual life and being on a highly spiritual path. You are just a student, learning new concepts for the first time, how what I'm going to do with those new concepts, what they mean for me, how I can apply them and use them most efficiently in my life, and becoming better for myself and others. And you may fall down with that 100 times. It is just being a student. There's no damn perfection to it. So, and it's hard. It's hardcore, a spiritual life path. The things you discover, the things you see, the things that require so much bravery. Yeah. And so, in the last live, one of my last lives, I was talking about the people in my life who had died, who had passed away, and the different ways in which I pick up on them energetically. And like I said earlier, I pay attention, you know, to the small, subtle things. And of course, you have to have the power of discernment. You can't just go off the deep end and think that everything is a sign. Of course not. You have to be able to discern. Honestly, it made me sad that in the year that my partner has been gone, I've had a lot of grief. I haven't really been right ever since because a lot happened with he and I that didn't get closure, but I've had to practice a lot of forgiveness. I'd like to do some videos on that too. When you actually forgive the people who have betrayed you, the people who have wronged you and abused you, who have hurt you in the past, and what it's like to forgive them. Forgiving narcissistic abusers, forgiving people who have taken advantage of you. And that all comes if you are on a spiritual path. It has to come or else. And believe me, I spent years being pissed. I spent years making videos about narcissists. And I spent years, and some people make a good living off that. Just that's their niche and that's what they talk about all the time. But I knew that's not for me. I knew that was only going to be temporary, learning about the narcissist, going through those experiences, being able to articulate that back out to the world, and then going beyond that. I had to heal beyond that. So, that was my personal choice, to heal and grow beyond that. I don't want to sit and dwell on narcissist all day. Um, there's just so much more to it. And really, from my spiritual perspective, it would probably piss people off. But that's just how I feel about it. And if anybody could be mad, it's me. If anybody could still be pissed at my abusers from the past, it's me. But I'm not. I'm not, because that's a trap on me. That's a prison for me. Did I take as much time as I needed to be pissed off at them? Yeah. Did I take as much time as I needed to take distance from them or call them out or whatever I needed to feel that was negative? Yeah, I did. But eventually I had to get the hell out of there. And honestly, the way I see it, yeah, when you're going through it psychologically, it sucks. And I fought a lot of battles. I didn't want to accept it. So I feel you when you get mad, when people get mad at what I'm about to say. I feel you. It feels like a slap in the face. It feels like you're being invalidated. It feels like kooky bullshit. But what I'm about to say is I finally had to come to terms with this whole spiritual thing, and that I couldn't fight it anymore. That a lot of what I was living through, I had chosen. And I know that pisses a lot of people off that, don't resonate with that, but believe me, it took me a long time to get there, and I fought that shit for a long time. Literally arguing back and forth. There's no way, with my own higher spirits, my own spirit guides, my own higher self, my own everything. Like, there's no freaking way. There's just no way that that's what life is about. That we do this to ourselves. That we choose these incarnations and these impossible challenges in our lives and this suffering and the lessons that we're going through with people and how things are turning out. There's no way. And I was so pissed because I'm like, okay, I've been through this enough in my life. I don't, can I just keep this one? Can this one partner, can this please not be for spiritual growth at this point? But I finally had to come to terms with a lot of things spiritually. So he passed away last year, and I have experienced some pretty extraordinary things that to me are too profound to deny when people pass away. For instance, when my partner, the first 3 days after he died, I was there with him in the hospital, and anybody else want to fly over? Anything else? Let me see what y'all are saying, talking about. Hey, Elvis. All right, guys. So you say it feels like a demon in your room, Elvis? Wow. That's what a lot of people have told me. A lot of people report that. But from my experience, what I had to learn about sleep paralysis, and the conclusion that I have finally come to after all these years and research and study and experience, those are just, in my personal opinion and experience, those are just lower astral beings. They can't hurt you. It's your fear that's hurting you. Just plain and simple. It is what it is. I had to learn that. Fear. Fear. You're afraid. Everybody, most everybody I've ever met that has had sleep paralysis. And I'll get into that, okay? I'm not ready to get into that quite yet. That's why it's at the end of the title, but I've got some thoughts to share with you guys on that. In fact, I'm setting up I'm in the process right now. I've been setting up a brand new Facebook page, and I'm going to be doing coaching and consulting as far as sleep paralysis goes. Now I know there's a lot of people out there in this area. One of my favorites is William Bowman. I have several of his books. He is with the Monroe Institute. If you have sleep paralysis, a lot of people that have sleep paralysis, though, they don't know the other side of it. They don't know that it correlates, that it connects to out-of-body experiences, that it is actually a portal, okay? But at the same time, it might not be that way for every single person. So I do want to be very careful. Long story short, check out the Monroe Institute if you have sleep paralysis, if you have out-of-body experiences, and what they're all about. William Bowman, there are a lot of people like him that actually teach people how to do this. They teach people, about the sleep paralysis and then how to get out of body and astral travel. That is not what my coaching is about. I am not wanting to teach people. I don't care whether you get out of your body or whether you don't. I don't care whether you believe it or whether you don't. I know what I do, and I know what I've experienced and what has been revealed to me and what is possible there. I am not suggesting to people that they need to do this or that they don't need to do it. That's not my thing. Some people who have sleep paralysis are simply looking for emotional support. They want someone to talk to. This is not a subject that's easy to talk to people about. Sometimes even with your therapist or even your primary doctor or even your best friends. A lot of times people are ashamed or afraid to approach the subject, or ha ha ha. They might get to talk about it for a couple minutes and then everybody changes the subject because this is not a subject that a lot of people are knowledgeable about. Okay. So we'll talk a little bit about sleep paralysis at the end of the stream and what I'm setting up as far as coaching, emotional support for people who suffer from sleep paralysis, and more information about my personal experiences and journey through that, what I've learned from it. But let's finish up talking about afterlife connection. And so, what I experienced the first 3 days after my partner passed away, and I was right there that night when they took the machines off, and his heart just kept beating and kept beating till about 3 a.m. And it was right after I decided to lay my head onto his chest and get comfortable. I pulled up a chair and I was right there with him when he took his last breath, and it was really, really painful to let him go, to walk out of there and leave him there that last time, knowing that I would never see him again, knowing that that was it. And I've gone through a hell of a lot of grief this past year, but I kind of went into shock, guys. And so, while I'm not an expert on afterlife communication or anything like that, I do have some experience with it. And I kind of went into shock. And I knew that it would probably be hard for him to reach me for a while because of the fucking grief. This is what people have to understand. We create a barrier to our loved ones because they are moving on to a higher frequency. After they shed that human body, and that goes along with sleep paralysis and out of body experiences, and what I experienced every single time I got out of the physical body into an out of body experience, and what that felt like, how free it was, how much lighter I was, and how everything that I wanted to do, I had to use my mind to do it in those dimensions. All of that's in my videos. A great deal of that is chronicled in my videos here on my page. And at the end of the stream, I'll finish talking about that part of it, okay? And how, yes, I am beginning to coach people on this. I'm setting up a brand new Facebook page for this. I will have my business email in the description. If people who have sleep paralysis want to contact me for coaching, for emotional support, for talking about it, I'll give you guys all the details at the end of this stream, okay? But anyway, back to the contact in the afterlife. So in a stream earlier this week, I talked to you guys about the different experiences I've had with loved ones showing up, and different spiritual experiences I've had with either before they died, right before they died, or after they passed on, either visiting in dreams, before, visions before they passed. I told you guys in that earlier live stream about my father and how weird that was, and how he came to me in a vision 2 nights before he passed away, and he was just walking, all in white, and he looked younger. And this wasn't a dream, but I wasn't fully awake either. And I remember thinking, no, Dad's at the hospital. I know what this type of vision is supposed to signify. Why am I seeing this? No, Dad, no. But I knew deep in my heart it meant that he was leaving. He was dying. And I just thought it was so freaking miraculous that he could project his consciousness to me, that was his way of saying goodbye. And yes, 2 days later, we had to take him off the machines. And so there are a lot of different ways that they will come to us and let us know. And then in the live stream earlier this week, I was talking to you guys about, why are they wearing white? Like, I want to do a whole video devoted to that. Like, why do so many people report that their loved ones come to visit them and they're wearing white? My dad was in a white, not a suit, That wasn't my dad's style. It was like a muscle shirt, not a wife beater either. Just a white muscle shirt, sleeveless white shirt, white slacks. He was just walking, y'all. Just walking. Kind of looking down, walking. I'm just like, oh, fuck. Why do they come to us in white? Anybody know? Has anybody else had that experience where a loved one visited you either before they passed on or after and they were wearing white? Like, I don't get it. I want to know. I really want to know. Hey, Michael. So, anyway, I don't feel like sitting out here doing a live stream very long today. I just wanted to pop on, get a little bit more experience, check in. Um, I think it'll take a while on my channel to get these going and kind of get more people interested, and probably would require me to stick to the same topics. So the first 3 days after my partner passed away, I had a new type of contact that I'd never had before. I told you guys in earlier live streams, yes, I've had dream visitations where I knew they were visits. I've had visions. I've had synchronicities in everyday life. Those are a lot of the things that people don't pay attention to. And the average person doesn't freaking know to pay attention to it unless you study this shit. Unless every time somebody dies, you go straight to your books, straight to your studies, listen to the psychic mediums, listen to people who talk about the afterlife, listen to the podcast, and get the training to open your consciousness to be able to see and receive, then you don't know to do that. You don't, the average person doesn't know how to pick up on that stuff, but they can. You know what I'm saying? And some people just do naturally without any training. But the synchronicities that you'll see around you, it's amazing how they can connect, you guys. In fact, before I tell you about what happened the first 3 days after my partner passed over, he did. Oh God, he tried. He tried. And I felt like, drugs and alcohol affect the frequency, right? I keep all this in mind when they're trying to cross. And for some reason, it was very important to me in my soul for me to be with my partner when he passed. And I almost didn't make it. We weren't on the best terms in the last months of his life. There were so many things going on, and his son was in charge of everything, and I'm so glad they waited for me. But there was something, I had been with him, many years, protecting him. He was an alcoholic. He had gone through losing a child. He was spiritually and emotionally broken. And there was something in my soul that was so important for me to protect him beyond my own understanding. And it was so important for me to be there as he crossed over. I don't know what it was, other than just loving him and wanting to be there. There was something else in my soul that wanted to make sure that he had a safe passage, that he safely got over. I don't know, but I know that drugs and alcohol can affect the frequency. And so I feel like different things happen to our loved ones when they first cross over. They do instantly shed the human body, so they are instantly in a lighter frequency, but I don't feel like it's always easy for them to just connect to us right then and there. God knows what they might have to go through. And if they passed over while they were drunk or high or in a very low vibrational state, they may not be able to instantly come and connect with us right then until they get to a point of healing and get on a better frequency. But then they're going to be on such a high frequency that connecting back to us in this dimension, in this third dimensional frequency, it's going to be hard because we are so low vibrational. Even the highest frequency human beings are low vibrational. Earth is a very low vibrational planet. So heavy. Oh my God, it's heavy. Yes. So you get what I'm saying? So we don't know what they go through. But I'll never forget my dad coming to me like that, and my partner, he tried. And I've not been mad this past year, but I've been sad. I've been empty because I go week after week after week after week after week, sometimes not seeing him in my dreams, not feeling him, and it feels so bad and so empty, and it frustrates me. And so therefore I keep working on my own frequency, because I know if I mope around too much, if I stay in grief and depression and emptiness, that it's going to be even harder for his frequency to connect to mine, to visit me, to check on me, to whatever. But it's fucking hard when you lose somebody, man. You can't just snap out of it. It's hard. I know. And so, but he did try. And those first 3 days, I'll never forget that. It was one of the most profound things I've ever experienced, other than my out of body experiences through sleep paralysis. And I've had many important afterlife visits from loved ones, dozing off and seeing them right there. And, that space in between. I've talked about that before. Um, there is a dimension, a space in between being in the deepest part of your sleep and being fully awake. I don't know what they call that particular state, brainwave, dimension. That is where you see them the most. That is where our deceased loved ones are. They are in that in between. I used to have a song called "The Spaces in Between." Now I know why even more. That's where everything is. There are dimensions in between. Things that we just can't perceive, that we can't pick up on most of the time. But what happened was that for the first 3 mornings after he passed away, I would go to sleep. And yes, the first night after he passed, he did come to me in a dream. It was very blurry. It wasn't very clear, but I knew it was him. And I knew he was trying to make contact. And I was like, okay, thank you, God. And if it was just me dreaming, well, fuck, I could do that every night. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't dream of him every night. I hadn't been dreaming of him every night. In fact, before he passed away, I had kind of had an energetic block onto that because we had been having a lot of problems. So it wasn't common for me to dream of him all the time, not anymore. In the early years, it was. And so he did come in that form. But every morning that I would wake up for the first 3 days after he died, y'all, and this was very uncommon for me. My apartment is quiet. There's nobody else here except my mother. She's very quiet. I don't go to sleep with earbuds in or anything really loud and rackety. I can't sleep like that. So imagine everything's very, very quiet and calm. And we all have a narrative in our head, right? We all have thoughts in our head that sometimes might wake us up or whatnot, but that's not very common to me. Usually everything's very peaceful in my sleep, very quiet. And for the first 3 mornings, what would wake me up would be this, like somebody had climbed inside my head and turned up a speaker full blast, and an untuned one at that. Like, y'all know what an untuned radio station sounds like an AM radio, and the old dial AM radios, and you're trying to tune it in, and it's and you're hearing all that shit. Okay, that's what I'm hearing. And very loud music. Okay, and it would be specific songs. I wrote the 2 songs down. Oh, I have all this documented. You damn right. I did not want to forget this. This was important. This was profound. And it, for me, if I get scared, for me, a person that is highly tuned to the spirit world, open, ready to receive that kind of thing, this is why, you guys, this is why they don't over connect to you. This is why we can't have too much spiritual knowledge at one time. Hello. Hi, baby. Hear that, Raven? I hear you. This is why we can't have too much spiritual knowledge at one time, guys. What I felt those mornings, those 3 mornings, just a tiny bit of their intensity, okay? Just a tiny bit of their energy, just a tiny fraction from the other side. If we were to have too much, it would just completely disintegrate us. It would completely fry our circuits, our entire wiring, okay? We would just completely short out and go mad. And that's why I've always also believed there's a correlation, there's a connect between mental illness and the spirit realm. But I'll always be the first person to tell you, get your medical checkups, get your mental health checkups, period, before you delve off into the spirit world or your own spiritual gifts. I had a therapist for over 30 years. I'm going to get that psychological foundation. I need to know the shit before I can, you know what I'm saying, do what you got to do there. Get your mental health consults. Reach out to professionals if you need help. If you've got shit going on that you don't understand, that's over your head, um, always get some professional guidance if you can. And get your medical health checkups too. Make sure you're okay. You know, I'll always say that. But I know the difference. I can discern the slightest, difference in my body or my emotions, my feelings that don't belong to me, energy that doesn't belong to me, all of that. And guys, when that happened to me those first 3 mornings after he died, and I would wake up every morning and just kind of sit there and grab the side of my head. I had never felt anything like that before. Never. And I'd had some pretty cool spiritual experiences in my life, but nothing like that. He made himself known, honey. And that was his personality, and it made me laugh in a way. So I can't say that I have not had contact with my partner, because he did. He made it a point to be heard. So I would know. But as the year went on, yeah, it just kind of became radio silence for a long period of time, and I didn't like it. I don't like that. I miss them so fucking much. But I wrote the songs down because one of them was a song very specific to him that he liked. And the other one was, I think, something I had been listening to a week or so before. But like I said, those first 3 mornings after he passed away, it was as if someone climbed in my head, turned up the speaker full blast. These songs were blasting out in my head, being sung. And at the same time, it was sounding like someone trying to tune a fucking radio. Get the dial on an old AM radio, get the frequencies right, the frequency sound and the staticky sound, and then someone singing full blast, the music, the vocals. And it was so loud, y'all. I had to sit on the side of the bed for a minute. And I would smile, but then I would get scared. And I would smile again, and I would get scared because I knew what it was. I knew what it was. And I was just in shock. I was in shock because we all want that. We all, when somebody we love dies, we all want to know, where are you? Are you still alive? Does our consciousness go on? Did you transfer somewhere else? Are you really okay beyond the physical body? We all want to know that, right? And I'm no Matt Fraser. I'm no Tyler Henry. I'm no one that would even call myself a psychic medium or any of that type of shit. But I can perceive spirit realm, and what little bits that I have been honored to receive from them over the years, I don't disregard, and I treasure, and I pay attention, and I nurture that growth. Okay. But that's what happened. And I would climb into the shower, and on that third morning it was so loud and so profound that I did start to get scared. And I wish I hadn't, because if you get scared, they're going to back off. That's why they don't come. That's why when people say, why haven't I heard from my dead father, my dead mother, my dead sister, my deceased boyfriend, girlfriend, my wife, why haven't I heard? Guys, they don't come because them trying to connect to us will scare us to fucking death. They have to find ways to do it that we can handle. It's powerful. And I guess he connected to me in that way because he knew I could handle that much. I don't know. Or that he just wanted to make sure that it stood out against everything else. Not a dream, not a feather out on the ground, not a bird. No, he wanted to make sure that this shit stood out, and it did. And I started to get kind of scared on that third morning because it was so powerful. Okay, that's why I couldn't be a clairvoyant, a psychic medium in that form. I cannot be a clairvoyant because, I know my limitations. I just do. And as I've said, I am attuned to that world and picking up on things, but they only give us what we can handle. Our spirit guides know, and, how far we can go, what we can handle. And if I were to start seeing shit, I would freak the fuck out. I just wouldn't be able to handle it, y'all. My particular personality, my anxiety disorder, there's only so much spiritual knowledge I can handle and information at a time. And that's why they don't give too much. That's why they don't come too often. Because their energy, even trying to get close to you, even trying to get, that's what you have to understand. It would just fuck you up. It just scramble your brain, your signal, you have to be able to receive it in a certain way. You have to be ready for that and on that kind of frequency, and not let it scare you. And so they do it in other subtle ways that most of the time we just go right on and ignore, or we doubt it. We say, I'm just making this up. I know. Oh, yeah. We say, but see, that's the thing. And of course, intelligent people, well, we all use critical thinking. We all use analysis. We all use logic. We're all smart. And we're going to use those things. But at the end of the day, those are the number one enemy of intuitive knowledge. And that's a hard one to balance, isn't it? Mm-hmm. There are some times where you need to shut that shit the fuck up, where it's not helping. And you just have to know. You have to know. And you have to not doubt it. Because the more you doubt it, the more they're not going to come. I've listened to a lot of trainers on this kind of stuff too, because, that's my personality. When I lose somebody, the first motherfucking thing I want to do is be able to receive them when they come, not laugh at them or ignore them or act like I doubt. I doubt that that's even real. The more you do that, the more they're not going to come. The more they're not going to be able to connect. So you have to be on that frequency of open-minded and paying attention, and you have to believe it. You have to know it. You have to feel it. You can't just sit there and go, that wasn't good enough. That wasn't real. Prove it to me more. I need more proof. Because I get the feeling that they're trying really hard sometimes. It must be really fucking difficult to connect back here to our energy. And so, yeah, I'm really careful about that. Not to blow it off, not to scoff at it, not to take it for granted. But on that third day, I prayed and I talked to my partner as well. And I said, oh my God, I'm so honored that you did this. I know it's you. I can feel you. I'm like, it is blowing me away. I have never heard or experienced anything like this. So this is what we call clairaudience, you guys. I don't know if I wrote that in the title, But this would be a form of one of the clairs, not clairvoyant. Clairvoyant is clear seeing. I don't want to see shit because it would freak me out too much. But this is a form of clairaudience, okay, where you are able to hear into other dimensions, extrasensory perceptions, sight, knowledge, feeling, hearing, smelling, extrasensory, mm-hmm. besides the senses we already have. So yeah, that would be a form of clairaudience. And I prayed that morning, and I told him, I said, "Thank you for coming. I know it's you. It's blowing my mind." I said, "But I'm a bit frightened. It's really loud. It's really, really loud. Oh my God, is this real?" It was so frightening because it was so real, and I wish I had not allowed myself to become frightened. Because to have contact with him every single day would be such an honor. And I wish it had never stopped. But can you imagine? I mean, come on. Of course, it'd be scary if you woke up that way every morning. And this, again, is why the two worlds are separate and why we don't have a lot of contact with them once they go. Um, not always, unless you're on a certain level. Don't get me wrong. Yes, there are people out there, teachers out there. There's all kinds of folks out there. Folks that are still having everyday relationships with their husbands and wives in the afterlife. Absolutely. And I believe that's possible. But I'm just saying, the average human being on the average day, because of our frequency and what we may not know, that's a lot of times why they're not coming and why they're not connecting and why we just can't be allowed to have all the spiritual knowledge that's out there. Not too much at one time, okay? Because it would just fry our brain. We would disintegrate. We would go insane. Going to shock. So I'm going to close this out with I just wanted to share those things for other people who might be going through the same thing. Maybe you've lost a partner or a loved one and are desperate to hear something from them. I know that feeling very well. And you're desperate to connect, or you're doubting that those connections are real. That energy, it's real. It's real. Okay. Now, I'm not a coach of that type of thing, but I do have a lot of experience with it. I've studied a lot about it over the years as well. Um, and yeah, absolutely. I do believe that they do want to connect to you. They will connect to you in time. It just depends on where your frequency is. It depends on where you're at, where your energy's at the time. And they'll do it in different ways that you will know it's them. That's why he chose that loud ass music and those specific songs. And it was just like him, though. I just had to laugh. It was just like him to be loud and obnoxious like that, because he drank a lot. And they'll do things that you'll know it's them. But guys, I am to end this stream up. Yes, the sleep paralysis. I have been wanting for years to share my experiences. Back in my early 20s is when it started. Very frightening sleep paralysis. And I've got several videos here on my channel about it. I want to inform people the best I can. I'm not an expert on it or anything like that, but I have years and years and years of experience with it. And the main thing people need to know, I'm shocked to run across the internet and find out the people that don't really even know the basics of it. Sleep paralysis is just a normal part of your sleep. Okay. You're supposed to be temporarily paralyzed in the deepest part of your sleep. But some of us become conscious while we're having the temporary sleep paralysis, and we're not supposed to. And experts don't know why. They really don't fully understand why some of us are becoming conscious during that time and others aren't. They theorize that it might be a glitch or like a misfire, to where certain people are getting too much of a dose of the chemical. The neurons are misfiring and they're getting too much of a dose of the chemical that temporarily paralyzes them during REM sleep, as they're supposed to be. But they're getting that dose right before waking up or right before just about to fall to sleep. Therefore, they are too conscious either way. They're too close to full consciousness either way to be getting that dose of sleep paralysis hormone or whatever chemical. And why is it misfiring? That's the question. That is what they don't fully understand. They do give off a list of symptoms that can trigger that type of thing to happen to somebody, like sleep deprivation, dietary changes and habits, going to bed really, really hungry, things like that. Now, that's the medical and scientific perspective. Now, from my experience, where I take it is to the metaphysical perspective of sleep paralysis and what it's all about. It being a gateway and a portal to other dimensions and a gateway to leaving the physical body. That is what my experience with sleep paralysis is, okay? Now, some people are not going to be interested in that at all. Some people are just looking for, I have horrible sleep paralysis attacks. I want them to stop. How do I make them stop? And I don't have answers for that. Again, consult your doctor. You can go over and over what the experts know about sleep paralysis. You can reassure yourself that you're not sick, it's not abnormal, that it's supposed to be happening. So you can at least reassure yourself of that. But yes, the question still remains, why is it happening to me? Why is my brain one of the brains that misfires and I'm getting a dose of the paralysis when I'm too conscious? Yes, I would love to have that question answered. But metaphysically and in the spiritual realm, I personally had to learn that sleep paralysis was a gateway, again, to other dimensions. I chronicle all this in my videos on my channel about how it all started for me, how I had a spirit guide approach me. I probably would have never ever known that I could get out of my physical body through sleep paralysis had that one time sleep spirit guide not come and guided me. Had she not said what she said, I probably would have never known. Yeah, turn it down, Jesus. I probably would have never known, and I'd probably still be fighting sleep paralysis to this day, 20 something years later. I probably would have never put two and two together. Never in a million years would I have related those sleep paralysis attacks to out of body travel, portal to other dimension, astral projection. Never. He never would have related the two. I never would have gone and got knowledge on it. I wasn't looking for that. Didn't care a flip shit about that. Probably would have never known anything about it had that, I call her a spirit guide. I don't know what else to call her. Had that particular gentle and safe and guiding voice not come to me one day during a sleep paralysis event just before I was about to fight to wake up and instructed me telepathically to just let go. And I know that sounds scary, y'all. I know. Most people can't do it. Most people cannot do it and would not do it. But what's on the other side of that? What's on the other side of sleep paralysis and surrender and just letting go? Because you're going to just let go one day anyway. So I have my beliefs about why this happens to certain people and what it's trying to show them. Maybe these certain people that it happens to are on a particular path in life. Maybe they're meant to see certain things. Maybe they're meant to be on a more spiritual path and they haven't been living it. Maybe there's certain issues in their life that it wants them to take a look at. I don't know. But that is what I had to learn about sleep paralysis. Is that yes, you cannot have any fear. If you have fear, if you hesitate, It eats fear, okay? You will just remain stuck in the body and paralyzed and fighting, and the heavy, heavy vibrations and buzzing and humming and all of that. And the beings and presences that people report, just like, which comment was it? Elvis popped up down here and talked about he sees a demon around him. Okay, the beings and entities that people report around them during sleep paralysis, I have felt them too. I don't see them, but I fucking feel them. Every time I have sleep paralysis, I feel them all around me. Okay. And what I feel like is happening is that right when we began to have sleep paralysis, we are starting to slip into the astral dimensions. And the astral dimension, I believe that's the lower astral. I believe we have to go through the lower astral and the different astral levels to get to higher dimensions, which is where I usually end up, in lights and stars and spiral and all that when leaving the physical body. It's been quite extraordinary experiences. And I believe those are just lower astral beings that can't hurt you. They can fuck with you. They can try to scare you. They want to feed on your fear. They don't want you to know that you can connect to something higher. Yes, I have questioned all of it. Can they get in my body while I'm out? Because feeling that shit around you while you're having sleep paralysis is no joke. I know they're there, okay? So, how I'm going to wrap this up, guys. Again, after 5 years of nothing but sleep paralysis and fighting it, it began to be revealed to me what's on the other side of that. And I began to have, God, 15, 16, 18 years of out of body experiences, to where I learned, I didn't stop having sleep paralysis, but I learned how to transform sleep paralysis into something better. I won't say that it's absolutely less frightening, because anytime you're dealing with the unknown and being so vulnerable and having to face fear and uncertainty and complete surrender, you're going to experience a little bit of, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be frightening to a degree. But that's what proceeded to happen to me for all those years. I learned how to transform my sleep paralysis experience from something horrifying and trapped and fearful to complete and total surrender, and realizing that there are other dimensions of consciousness, and feeling the physical, the spirit body separate from the physical body, and what that was like each and every time. And I learned so much from these experiences, okay? Now, not everybody's going to be interested in doing that, and I'm not suggesting that you need to do it, okay? Some people may just want to try to figure out how to cope with having sleep paralysis. Some people may have it more than others, and it may be very frightening to them. And so what I hope to do is, yes, I want to start coaching and counseling, not on anything else, okay? I mean, I've got a shit ton that I know about, and, psychological issues and anxiety disorders and addictions and all these different things. I've done all that. And I've had my own therapist off and on for 30 years. But no. I'm not an expert on any of that stuff. It would strictly be limited to sleep paralysis. Okay? And again, it is important to have a medical checkup. It is important to have a mental health checkup. It would not be coming from the perspective of a scientist or an expert in sleep paralysis as far as the brain goes and the way it's wired and what's happening there. I feel like people need a really good understanding of that. But no, my coaching is more or less along the metaphysical perspectives of it, and just sharing my personal knowledge and experience if people, are interested in that. And I feel like there's a lot of people that are frightened and that want to be heard. They need their experience validated with sleep paralysis. They need someone that has had it happen, that knows what it feels like, that understands the fear and terror, that can stay calm about it, that will listen to them, because it's just not something that people want to talk about every day. It's not something that people have a lot of knowledge and understanding about. And so, yeah, I have set up a new Facebook page. I'm currently constructing that and getting some content on there and getting all that set up. And I may start doing lives over there regarding sleep paralysis and out of body experiences and other dimensions. And again, I am going to link my business email for anyone that may be struggling with this very thing, sleep paralysis, whether it's, whether you have gone farther and had the out of body experiences, whether you haven't and you're just still stuck having sleep paralysis and you're not interested in that next part and you really just want some support, you want to be heard, validated, you want to examine the parts of your sleep paralysis, the beings or the feelings and things that you've sensed around you at that time. Um, all of those types of things I am offering. Okay. And so I'm just in the process of getting that off the ground, but I will link a business email in the description box if you would like to contact me for sessions on that. And also, I'm going to continue working on the new Facebook page in regards to that so that people can contact me there for sessions or, to set up, um, whether it's a learning session or whether they just want emotional support for this type of thing, um, or whether they want more knowledge about how to do it. I'm very open to that, but I'm not going to call myself a teacher of out of body experiences because there are, a lot better teachers out there. Even though I've done it for years and years and years, there are other people who really specialize in that particular area as astral projection coaches and out of body experience coaches. That is not, because I really want to take a middle ground stance about it. I really don't want to push people into doing that if that's not what they feel that they're after or ready for. I don't want to be the one encouraging them to, I don't want to be the one saying, yo, I know for sure that this is what you need to do and you need to do it this way. And if you just do this, you know, I feel like everyone could do this that has sleep paralysis. Yes. I feel like if they were to just relax, just like William Bowman teaches in his books, just like I had to learn in my own experience, if they would just relax during sleep paralysis and, like I teach in my videos or talk about in my videos, instantly shift your thought over from fear and horror and negativity to something beautiful, positive, forward motion, up. Think about, I talk about a lot of these things in detail. I honestly think that just about anyone could do this, would would see a definite change in the sleep paralysis if they learn how to get control of their thoughts right when it's happening to them and change their energy. Okay, whether it's separating from the physical body and having an out of body experience, or whether it's just transforming the sleep paralysis into a more controllable experience. I do believe that all people can, yes, get control of this and get control of the fear that they're feeling at that time. Now, I cannot guarantee exactly what experience each and every human is going to have, but I am very knowledgeable on this subject, years and years and years of experience with it. And yes, just wanted to put that out there. I am starting my coaching program, my support program for people who suffer from sleep paralysis, specifically sleep paralysis. I won't be conversing about anything else or, able to listen about anything else, but it'll specifically be people suffering from sleep paralysis, not understanding it, um, just whatever's going on in their life, maybe that they need to take a look at, or how they can cope with this better, maybe get down to the pinpoints and the triggers of what might be provoking it. And if they do want to go that step farther into learning the out of body experience process, then that is fine too. As I say, I'm just getting it off the ground. Okay. So, you guys, if you're interested in that, anybody that runs across this video, if you do need coaching or emotional support, you are going through sleep paralysis quite frequently, it's very bothersome to you. And just whatever, you're having a lot of fear, there are things you don't understand. And or if you're interested in the process after the sleep paralysis, once you start relaxing and gaining control of your fear and learning what that's like to shift in your consciousness and literally separate from the physical body and what happens then. Um, Check out that email in the description box, contact me there, and we can line something up for a coaching session. All right, you guys, I'm going to sign off this live for now, but I'm going to continue working on more videos, and it's been kind of a long road, but this is really where I wanted to go with it all along. No matter what videos I've put out on my channel, I've been passionate about a lot of things in my life, but these subjects are really what I'm passionate about and what I have wanted to get to for many, many years. I feel like we all have some kind of deeper purpose in life. And I knew mine was going to be not exactly on the beaten path. It was going to be somewhere. It's kind of like what Sloan Bella talks about, how she, and I did too. I used to want to go to school to be a psychotherapist. And I did go to school. I did get my associate's degree, but I didn't really want to go for a master's. And I really got to thinking about it. And as much as I love to help people and share with people and encourage their energy and help open their minds as to how they can move that energetic trauma off of them from their childhoods, just like I went through, as much as I love psychology and all of that, my spiritual life takes precedence. And the things that I know and experience in those realms, that is a priority to me, and that would have clashed with the professional world. And so just like Sloan talks about, she would rather help people in the energetic ways to move their trauma, because that way you're not confined to the legal process of being a psychotherapist, and you know um, you're not really allowed to talk about certain things within that. And to me, now don't get me wrong, it helped me as a young woman. I swear by it. I am so grateful that I had a psychotherapist to learn those psychological foundations of yourself, your family, your patterns, what happened to you, why it happened to you, why you're wired a certain way, boundaries and codependency, and all these things, being more assertive. You need that foundation if you grew up in a lot of trauma. I will always say that. You need that psychological foundation, a good, healthy psychological foundation. So don't get me wrong. It helped me tremendously. But what I'm saying is, after a point, it is very limited. It is too limited for me now. It got to a point where I had what I needed. I had grown however much I needed to grow and healed in those regards, and I had to move on spiritually. And so after a while, psychotherapy can be at a point where it does kind of just keep you in a certain box of rehashing why, what happened and why, how you felt about it. And yes, they can always give you a lot of feedback that you hadn't thought of before and teach you ways to cope with those types of things. It's always beneficial. But after you've grown a certain amount and you've gotten to a certain frequency, it can tend to just be that same old box, because as you grow spiritually, you develop a much higher understanding of what happened to you and why it happened to you and what you incarnated there for. And all of that begins to, it starts to bang heads with psychotherapy. It starts to bang heads with psychology at that point. And, it is what it is. All right, guys. Thanks for stopping into my live today. And it was nice to get the chance to just experiment and get the feel for it, talk about a few things. Big homie said he was going to have a cup of coffee and mow his backyard before it got too hot. I feel you, man. All right, you guys. I'll see you in the next one. check out that email in the description box if you're having sleep paralysis, if you're interested in that, and we can set something up. Thanks, you guys.